Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series offered by the Postgraduate Department of English, Payyanur College, Payyanur. Today I am dealing with the chapter Zero Sum Game by Bibhas Sen. Bibhas Sen was an advertising professional and got the idea for the story from newspaper reports about the implications of the GATT Treaty. GATT means General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. It is a legal agreement minimizing barrier to international trade by eliminating or reducing quotas, tariffs and subsidies while preserving significant regulations. The GATT's main purpose was to improve economic recovery after World War II through reconstructing and liberalizing global trade. The story attains its title and basic idea from game theory, which had application in research, military strategy, evolutionary biology and international relations. The satire centers on Indian mathematician Aryabhata's zero, which is made to play a significant role in the war of intellectual property rights that is initiated by globalization. Globalization was a strategy fabricated by the countries from the modern age, especially from the 17th century onwards. They were in search of trade and commerce linking several countries in the world. Thus came colonialism and imperialism, which resulted in the domination of several countries in the world. But the decolonization after the Second World War created a political vacuum in the Third World countries, which was manipulated and contrived by the hidden hands of modern capitalism or neo-imperialism. The neo-imperialism, disguised in several forms like an octopus, and planned the economic domination of the world through globalization, liberalization and consumerization of the whole world products and intellectual capacities, transforming the modern world into a market economy through the whims and fancies of the capital countries. The WTO, that is the World Trade Organization, came to India during the 1990s and succeeded in making an agreement in 1994. Since its origin, the developed countries in the West are exploiting the African and Asian countries. Some developing countries were reluctant to join the GATT agreement, and others like China partially agreed to it, accepting some provisions. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and other countries just blindly signed the agreement, and now we are suffering from the after effects of the GATT, making us submissive before the giant nations of the West, especially USA. The GATT agreement, which was formed in 1947, going through several amendments, finally came into effect in 1994, which affected the fortunes of the farmers worldwide. The sensational event of a local weekly of Shewprasad Tiwari created a tumult at Kisangunj in Uttar Pradesh. So what Mr. Tiwari did was, he published an article, and this was an eye-opening fact, and his family had been farmers for 5 generations who were surviving on these staple food grains. They were seriously affected by the policy of the GATT and the USA, which resulted in the price rise of the essential good variety of wheat seeds for cultivation. The editorial of this weekly was adopted by regional national newspapers and finally into English dailies, which created a sensation not only in the media but even in Indian Parliament and finally to administrative bodies. The heated discussions of the political figures resulted in going through the condensation of article which exposed the hollowness of the agreement on TRIPS, that is, trade-related intellectual property rights, and the factuality of the argument of Shewprasad Tiwari. By arguing that the Aryabhata's contribution, which was accepted by the Western world through the Arabs, India was in position to get the same intellectual trade property rights. This was far more important and resourceful to India than the GATT agreement. GATT agreement affected the price of grains and other essential commodities, which was highly unfavorable to the farmers around the world. America and other superpowers agreed for revising it in exchange for shopping, water and electricity subsidies. The whole loss in terms of seats were replaced by the gain through this stoppage of subsidies, that is water and electricity. The disguised form of neo-imperialism revealed through these drastic steps of the capricious Western powers was deliberately implemented through a game theory emphasizing zero of Aryabhata, zero-sum game in the case of farmers, displaying zero sarcastically by cheating unscrupulously and without shame, created a veil in the minds and eyes of poor people around the world. The true nature of modern capitalism is exposed through writing of this article by Bibhas Sen.
Now, let's move on to short answer questions. First question: how did Shewprasad Tiwari's editorial get national attention? Answer: Shewprasad Tiwari's editorial was noticed by the local stranger of a national newspaper who found the piece outrageously funny. Hence, he promptly sent it to his headquarters, which later landed in the editorial department of Hind Times in Delhi. Second question: what is the title of Shewprasad's editorial? Answer: the title of Shewprasad's editorial is The Ugly Face of American Trade Policy. Third question: what is Shewprasad's personal experience which made him write the editorial? Shewprasad Tiwari's family had been wheat farmers for 5 generations. By TRIPS, the cost for wheat seeds will increase, and which will in turn affect his dwindling family income. Fourth question: explain how Shewprasad used the analogy of a cosmetic surgeon in relation to the intellectual property right. Answer: Shewprasad uses the example of a cosmetic surgeon to explain the unfair idea of America's intellectual property rights on high-yielding varieties of seeds just because they have conducted genetic engineering on wheat seeds. Shewprasad Tiwari says that this is as unfair as a cosmetic surgeon claiming patent on the nose surgery he has done on a patient. Fifth question: which genre does Bibhas Sen's story belong to? Answer: Bibhas Sen's story belongs to the genre of satire. Sixth question: from where did Bibhas Sen get the idea for his story? Answer: Bibhas Sen got the idea for his story from the translated version of Shewprasad Tiwari's editorial, which was printed as a box item in Hind Times.